Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Tanya, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mario.
Can you hear me on platform?
You're still audible. We can hear you on the platform. Thank you.
Thank you.
Two. One, two.
Recording in progress.
The acting speaker.
There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Please be seated. Honorable members, the first item on the order paper is a motion in the name of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party. I will now recognize the Whip acting on behalf of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Order, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Acting Speaker. I propose that the House notes with deep sadness the passing of the African National Congress Member of Parliament MP Alice Mthembu following a car accident on Tuesday, the 26th December 2023. Further note that Alice Mthembu, a member of the National Assembly since 2019, served diligently in various parliamentary committees, including the Committee on Communication, Digital Technologies, Defense and Military Veteran, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Defense. Acknowledged that dedicated her life in the African National Congress, where she served as an administrator at Ntambanana ANC Constituency Office. Recalls that she appointed to serve in the African National Congress Musa region and the Regional Executive Committee of the ANC Women's League as a chairperson. Remembers that also served in the province of the African National Congress Women's League Treasurer. Further remembers that she was appointed Deputy Mayor of King Cetshwayo District Municipality. Believes that she was a dedicated and tireless public servant who served her constituency in KwaZulu-Natal and the people of South Africa with unwavering commitment and dedication, and extend its heartfelt condolences to her family, colleagues, and the African National Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. I will now recognize the Honorable Shelembe.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, let me begin by saying thank you, Chairperson, for affording us an opportunity to share our sympathies on the passing of our Member of Parliament, Honorable Mrs. Alice Mthembu, who passed on after a car accident that took place near her home in Hillview, outside Mpangeni, in KwaZulu-Natal on the 26th of December 2023. Chairperson, the untimely passing of stalwart politician late Honorable Alice Mthembu had come as a blow to us as members of Parliament. Alice Mthembu is known to have done much work for the community she was serving in her constituency. She played many roles at various levels, As been mentioned that she was also, the deputy mayor in Kengcetshwayo. She also, served in various portfolio committees in Parliament, and amongst those committees was Defence and Military Veterans. In our portfolio committee on Defence and Military Veterans, she was honest about her role and served with diligence in our portfolio. She was usually calm, she was a good listener, and always spoke sense at the meeting. As the Democratic Alliance, we are so sorry to lose a dedicated leader like Mama Mthembu. Umndeni wakaMthembu ikakhulukazi nabantwana bakhe siqonda kahle siyiqembu le-Democratic Alliance ukuthi kubuhlungu kangakanani ukulahlekelwa umzali obeyinsika yekhaya, obeba isixazululo ekhaya, obebathanda abantwana bakhe nomndeni wakhe, nobe uthanda umphakathi abe umele eParliament. Siyazi ukuthi ubengumuntu okholwayo obelisebenzela kakhulu nebandla lakhe. Kepha kumele samukele ukuthi sonke uma sikhona asihleli kunaphakade emhlabeni. Omunye nomunye unosuku lwakhe njengoba noma Mthembu wayebekele usuku lwakhe. Sikholelwa ukuthi uNkulunkulu uzobasingatha ngazo zonke izikhathi. Sizwana kakhulu umndeni wakhe, izihlobo zakhe nomakhelwane bakhe neqembu le-ANC. Siyasiqonda isikhala esivulekile ekhaya okunzima ukusivala. Nakuba kunzima uMama Mthembu esikhathini abebekele sona esinikwe uNkulunkulu ukwazile ukwakha ekhaya laqina emndenini, wabakhulisa abantwana bakhe, wabafundisa inhlonipho abantwana bakhe. Siyikomiti siqonda kahle ukuthi ukuba khona kwakhe bekwenza ikomiti lisebenze ngobuqotho, futhi uma ekhuluma bekubonakala ukuthi ungumuntu owakhuliswa ngenhlonipho. Ubengeyena umuntu oyisixhwanguxhwanga. Siyiqembu le-DA kusho ngokungenamahloni ukuthi uMama Mthembu ulisebenzele ngokukhulu ukuzikhandla izwe laseNingizimu Afrika. To the family of uMama Mthembu, we know all the pains that they have gone through, and we appeal to the family and members of the community, especially in KZN, that is very, very important for them to keep praying to Almighty God, as their prayers will be answered. Ngakho ke ngingasho nje sithi ke esizulwini siyayisithi ke akwehlanga lungehlanga kodwa kusuke kubuhlungu. Kodwa ke isintu sithi ke ukufa sakufica kukhona, nokhokho bethu siyaxoxelwa ngabo, omunye nomunye ubekelwe usuku lakhe. Siyafisa ke ngazathi ke banganda ke abantu abangafana noMama Mthembu, banciphe abantu abangenzi kahle, ngoba njengoba silana sizithunywa sifanele ukuthi senze kahle ngoba sibela abantu ngangokuthunywa ngamaqembu ethu. Ngalamazwi ke ngiyafisa ngithi ke emndenini nakumalungu eParliament onke ufika isikhathi sokuthi samukele ukuthi umuntu nomuntu unesikhathi sakhe. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Is there a speaker from the EFF?
Thank you very much, Acting Speaker. The EFF and its entire leadership sent its heartfelt condolences to the family of the late Ms Mthembu. The 26th of December 2023 came as a sad moment for her family and colleagues in the ANC and us who worked closely with her. Her passing came when we served with her in the South African Defence and Military Veterans Committee. She was indeed very humble, a respectable, disciplined lady whom I wondered whether she could ever raise her voice when angry. You could be deceived by her quietness and down-to-earth personality. She was very intelligent, strong, and possessed a sense of humor, very loving and caring. She loved her people and served South Africa with pride. She went down with her name intact, with no controversies. She was one among the millions to be chosen to lead South Africa to a just, equal, prosperous society. She tried her best and she did not disappoint. To her family, we assure you that her name is entombed in the history of South Africa's liberation struggles. We shall never forget her. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable Majosi.
Thank you, Honorable House Chairperson. Can I kindly switch off my video since I'm on the road for network purposes?
Yes, please do.
Thank you, Honorable Acting Speaker. On behalf of the IFP Parliamentary Leader and President, Honorable V F Siwela, the IFP Parliamentary Caucus and the entire party, I would like to express our sincere sympathy following the passing of Honorable Mthembu, a dedicated leader who did everything she could to serve the people of South Africa. Although deeply saddened by this loss, I also personally feel very privileged and honored to have had the opportunity to have known and served with Honorable Mthembu on the Portfolio Committee of Communication and Digital Technologies. She was a wonderful woman who played a very important role in the committee, and her contribution to what showed the maturity and wisdom of an elder. It has truly been a challenging few years, as this House has lost so many political stalwarts. As the IFP, we are reminded of the great loss we suffered last year with the passing of our founder, His Excellency Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. And because we know the deep sorrow and heartache that comes with the passing of a loved one, we share in the loss of Mthembu's family, her friends, and the ANC. May we all remember Honorable Mthembu for the values she stood and lived for, and may her soul rest in peace. Dabisa kakhulu mphathi sihlalo ukuthi namhlanje sizokhuluma ngelunga eleParliament ebesiseva nalo. Kodwa sithi dudu kumndeni, sithemba ukuthi uNkulunkulu uzoba nabo abagcine futhi abakhusele ukuba badlule kulesikhathi abakuso khona manje. Siyabonga njenge-Agriculture Freedom Party.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable Van Staden.
Acting Speaker, the Freedom Front Plus notes with sadness the passing of Honorable Mthembu following a car accident on the 26th of December 2023. Member Mthembu has served on various committees in Parliament, and her CV outlines her community involvement and the active role she played in the African National Congress. Member Mthembu's role as Deputy Mayor in KwaZulu-Natal can be seen as her active involvement on local level and in communities. We at the Freedom Front Plus extends our heartfelt condolences to Honorable Mthembu's family, her colleagues, and to the ANC caucus. May your soul rest in peace. Thank you, Acting Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The UDM. The ATM. Good. The Honorable Sukas.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I rise on behalf of the ACDP, our President, Reverend Kenneth Meshwe, to convey our condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones of the Honorable Alice Mthembu and to the African National Congress, her political home. I did not have the opportunity to know Honorable Alice Mthembu personally. My reflections is about to laud the contributions that she has made to better the lives of ordinary South Africans and to encourage the ones that she has left behind. In remembering her, it is her disposition and her manner what came to memory. There are very few who would take on the leadership roles, especially in politics, especially as women. And today it is for us to really laud the accomplishments and achievements of women that takes the courage to, with great personal sacrifice, serve our country and serve the organizations and their mandates. So it is to you, the family of Honorable Mthembu, that today we want to convey our condolences, our prayers, and our encouragement that death is not the end. There is a moment where we would again have a circle full and completed. May the Lord give you great grace as you traverse this great loss of your mom, sister, and your friend. God bless you. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Honourable Jafta. Honourable Jafta, you are not audible. Honourable Member, unfortunately, we cannot hear what you are saying.
As already repeated, Honorable Mthembu served in the like the joint chair.
Honourable Member, you are not audible. We cannot hear what you are saying. Your connection is very weak.
Am I not
No.
audible now?
Okay, let's try again, Honourable Member.
Chair, maybe you call me again. I will try another time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cope?
Maybe try another budget, Chair. You may pass and call me.
I'll come back to you, Honourable Member. You are in an area where the signal is very weak. I'll come back to you. I will, in the meantime, call on COPE, the PAC, the ANC.
Honorable Acting Speaker, Chief Whip, colleagues, good afternoon. I wish to greet the family and the relatives.
Honorable Kaba,
Yes, sir.
may I just request the ICT service to terminate that connection of the member who's on the platform now and who's interrupting the proceeding. You may continue. Please continue.
Thank you. Honorable Chief Whip, honorable members, comrades, friends, and family. We gather to honor Comrade Alice, Honorable Alice's life, legacy, and contribution to the party, the African National Congress, and the nation. Early this year, the Chief Whip of Parliament led a delegation to the family to express our grief and thank the family for lending her to the struggle. It is fitting that we pay our last respect to our beloved colleague. While her departure left a void, our spirits are uplifted by the profound legacy she left behind. In 2019, the African National Congress sent her to this house. She was not just a member of the African National Congress. She was a tireless advocate for justice and a true servant of the people. Justice meant ending poverty, reducing the gap between the rich and the poor, and reducing unemployment. She dedicated her life to the noble cause of freedom, equality, and democracy. From the earliest days of the struggle against apartheid, she embodied the very essence of selflessness and sacrifice. Her unflinching commitment to the service of the people of South Africa saw her being selected to head the constituency office, appointed a councillor, deployed a speaker, a deputy speaker, and a member of parliament. She was always prepared to go anywhere her organization wanted her to go. Ubekhuthele uthanda umsebenzi wakhe. Akukho abengakwazi ukwenza, ubenesiphiwo, ubengapheli umhlangano engawenzanga umnikelo wakhe. Her understanding that the country will not be truly liberated until women were free and able to take their rightful place in our society propelled her to the center stage of women's struggle and prepared her for the challenges ahead. This is a colleague who fought tirelessly for the rights of the oppressed, the marginalized, and the downtrodden, never wavering in a belief that under the African National Congress, a better future was possible for all South Africans. She was more than just an activist. She was a mentor and a guiding light for many of us who had the privilege of knowing her. Her house was burnt down, husband brutally murdered, and family harassed, but she stood firm for what she believed in. In March last year, she faced another ordeal when she, her son, and helper were bungled in a car, Fortuna, and driven away. When the four robbers who were in the same car with them lost communication with another who were following them, they abandoned the plan and handed the keys back to her. Her courage and dedication should inspire all of us to do better. Should inspire all of us to be better and to do better and to never lose sight of the ultimate goal, a South Africa where every citizen is treated with dignity, respect, and equality. Though she may no longer walk among us, her spirit lives on in the hearts and minds of all who were touched by her remarkable life. A legacy will continue to inspire future generations to stand up, speak up, and fight for what is right, just, and true. It is a great pleasure to celebrate her life, her achievements, and her enduring commitment to the principles of the African National Congress. Let us honor her memory by carrying forward the torch of freedom, justice, and equality for which she so passionately fought. To the family, we extend our deepest condolences and heartfelt sympathies. In closing, let us take comfort in the knowledge that Honorable Alice's legacy will live on in the hearts and minds of all who were fortunate enough to know her. May she rest in peace, knowing that her work is done and that her spirit will continue to guide us in the days, months, and years to come. We thank her for everything she had done and for the indelible mark she left on our hearts and our nation. We thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. May we ascertain if the Honorable Jefta is back online? Honorable Jefta? No, the Honorable Member is not there. Honorable Members, that concludes the speakers list on this matter. I take it that there are no objections to the motion being adopted. I will now request members to rise to observe a moment of silence in memory of Mrs. A H Mthembu. The presiding officers associate themselves with the motion, and the condolences of the House will be conveyed to the Mthembu family. Please be seated. The second item on the order paper is a motion in the name of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party. I now recognize the Honorable Chief Whip.
Good afternoon, Acting Speaker. I rise on behalf of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party that the House, one, notes with deep sadness the passing of the African National Congress Member of Parliament, my comrade Ms. V S Siwela, on Thursday, 18th of January 2024. Two, remembers that Comrade Siwela, V S Siwela's journey began as an educator at Lukwini Primary School in 1997. Three, further remembers that a passion for shaping young minds continued at various institutions, including Malwana, Rilani, and Lukani primary schools, where she was the head of the department and later the principal from 1993 to 2005. Four, recalls that she was the branch deputy president of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature from 2009 to 2011. Five, further recall that V serves as the convener for the Commonwealth Women's Parliament Africa region from 2009 to 2011. 6, acknowledge that she serves as a member of the Executive Council in Mpumalanga for Agriculture, Rural Development and Land Administration from February 2013 to May 2014, and for Human Settlement from June 2014 to August 2016. 7, further acknowledge that she played a vital role in Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature as a Deputy Speaker from 2009 to February 2013, and again as Speaker of the Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature in 2018. 8, realized that she was elected to the National Assembly in 2019 general election, and she was appointed as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Small Business and Development. 9, believed that she served the political party, the African National Congress, with distinction and commitment through her various positions as Deputy Chairman of Mpumalanga ANC from December 2015 until December 2017, 2 terms elected to the party's National Executive Committee in 2017 and again in 2022. And also she served as the NEC member for the ANC Women's League. Finally, we convey our heartfelt condolences to her family, friends, and the African National Congress.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I now recognize the Honourable de Villiers.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. On the 18th of January, it was with deep regret and disappointment that we learned of the passing of Honourable Violet Sizani Siwela. As chairperson of the Small Business Development Committee, I became very fond of her motherly but firm style of chairing our committee. Chairperson Siwela was always friendly and very approachable, but she knew when to lay down the law and to ensure the fair running of the committee. Last year, I had the privilege to attend an oversight trip with her and three of our other members in Berlin, Germany. We visited many sites in Germany, and during our long road trips, Chairperson Siwela, Honourable Jacobs, and myself spent many hours talking openly and honestly on many different topics and differences, personal and political. More importantly, we also discovered many similarities, shared values that I associate with her, but also recognize within myself. Chairperson Siwela was deeply religious. She loved God, her church, and her community. She very proudly spoke to us about her involvement in her church and fondly about her home and her local community. She loved her family and could not wait to buy them presents and spoil them when she returned. Chairperson Siwela also loved education, and she was deservedly very proud of her time as a teacher and as a school principal, as well as her own academic achievements, which included an MBA. It would be easy to ask what possibly could a senior and respected ANC African woman, leader from Bushbuckridge, Mpumalanga, have in common with a much younger DA MP, a white Afrikaans man from Cape Town. But that trip I learned that despite our political differences, we shared a love for the same God, our own families, an academic commitment to improve ourselves, and public service to this beautiful country through politics, be it in our different parties with our different convictions. Honourable Siwela was a pleasure to work with, and we will miss her in the committee. I will always fondly remember her soft but stern authority and how she referred to us as her sons and daughters in the committee meetings. The Democratic Alliance extends its heartfelt condolences to her family, her community, and the African National Congress for their loss. May the Lord bless her soul.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable Mani.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. Speaker, let me just first of all declare that I'm presenting these condolences on behalf of Honorable Babalwa Mthulelwa, who was part of the committee where the late Honorable Siwela was chairperson. This is what she says. Life is a cycle that starts and ends with passing on. On this occasion of passing on of our late chairperson, Mama Violet Siwela, we are here with sorrowful heart, the sorrowful heart to be a part in the sad moments of the family, friends and colleagues of Mama Violet Siwela. It is said the old must live until they look after all the young, but sometimes that never gets realized. Ubendithanda kakhulu uMama uSiwela ngenxa yamagalelo am kwi-portfolio committee ebendibizwa ngokuthi my girl. Ndifuna ukwenza isicelo sokuthi le parliamente ize iqinisekise ukuba le bill ye-small enterprise iya-amendwa before this parliamentary term ends as a sign of her respect and appreciation kuba ibisenhliziyweni yakhe kakhulu. It is my humble prayer for the departed soul. I also pray for the family who has witnessed the irreparable loss which has been caused by her passing on. Rest in eternal peace, Mama Siwela. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable Lutuli. Order, honorable members. Please proceed, honorable member.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the IFP President and the Leader of Parliament, Honorable V H Mthembu, I want to extend our heartfelt condolences to the Behavre family and friends of the late Honorable Siwela. Although the loss of Honorable Siwela saddened us, she had left a great legacy for us to learn from. Honorable Siwela was strong in her conviction of what needed to be done to help the people of South Africa. She contributed quite diligently to all the bills considered by the committee to a small business development. She worked well with the political parties and was well respected by all those she engaged with. Her absence is felt by all of us who serve alongside her on the committee. As the IFP, we had also experienced the devastation, heartache caused by a great loss when we had to say farewell to the IFP founder, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Therefore, as we passed on, condolences to the Siwela family, her friends and the ANC, we share in your loss by your friend, the strength needed to get through these difficulties. Please receive our condolences from the IFP caucus and the entire party. I thank you.
Thank you, honorable member. The next speaker is the Honorable Denner.
Thank you, House Chair. Honorable House Chair, before Honorable Violet Siwela became a politician, she held the title of one of the most noble and important jobs in the world, that of a teacher. For 30 years, she served her community as a primary school teacher and later as a principal, where she shaped the lives of many young children, indeed being able to make a real difference in the world. This deserves much admiration and respect. As a politician, she served on several committees, including the Section 194 Committee on the former Public Protector's fitness to hold office. This is where our paths crossed. Honorable Siwela was diligent in her work as a member of this committee, always interacting in a respectful manner, asking difficult questions and making insightful contributions. Though we did not see eye to eye ideologically, I had great respect for her as a leader and especially as a woman in a leadership position. She will be sorely missed. To her colleagues and family, please accept the Freedom Front Plus's most sincere condolences. It is not easy to lose a loved one. I hope you find comfort in the words of famous South African author J.R.R. Tolkien, who said, "The journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. May she rest in perfect peace." Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable Sukas.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I rise on behalf of the ACDP to convey our condolences to the family, friends, and loved ones of Honorable Violet Siwela and to the African National Congress, a political home. I would best remember Honorable Violet for her quips during the Section 194 committee, and I was really shocked to learn of her passing. She was responsible for many lighter moments in the committee when she made points of emphasis to keep the committee on track. Reading through her resume, I was again reminded of the contribution of women to democracy, and particularly impressed with how much Honorable Violet committed herself to public life. I think it is important, as I deviate from what I wrote down, that we should really recognize that this is the 6th Parliament, and we are today doing condolences on 2 women. And we speak of legacy so much, but I think both their lives is very meaningful given where we are, particularly at this juncture as we go towards a better South Africa. Today we know, but in a small measure, the value of Honorable Siwela's life. But for those who loved her and for whom she was a mother, a sister, a friend, this loss must be immeasurable. Death is a reminder to us all that our life here is temporary, but that there is an eternity that awaits us all. What we do and do not do when viewed against eternity is not measured in achievements, accomplishments, or who knows your name. It is measured against what have you done with the grace God has given you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The UDM. The ATM. Good. The Honourable Jefta. Cope. PAC. The Honourable Hendricks.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. Honourable House Chair, the Honourable Violet, at every meeting of the small business portfolio, she called me her firstborn. That was a great honor. I don't think any other member in this house had the honor that I have. So Alderma is very saddened to have learned of the sudden death of Honorable Violet Siwela in January this year. She was passionate to bring about economic emancipation that we fought for into the lives of the oppressed communities of Africa. This passion for economic emancipation she displayed while serving as chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Small Business Development. She was a champion for localization. She wanted manufacturing to take place in the rural areas. She wanted the president to announce the 1,000 products that can only be made by rural people and not big business and not by the international community. She was not only an active member of the African National Congress, but was dedicated and diligent member of Parliament And in a previous position she held in Mpumalanga, provincial legislator, her interest was to serve all South Africans, especially the poor and marginalized communities. She was a teacher by profession and educator. She gracefully exercised competence in the various positions she held in her political career. Her presence, Honourable Chair, will be sorely missed, and we trust that her vision for economic emancipation of the marginalized people will materialize sooner. Alzama extends its heartfelt condolence to the Siwela family, the communities she served, and the African National Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable April. Honourable Hendricks, please switch off your microphone.
Thank you very much. Greetings, Speaker, Acting Speaker, Chief Whip of the Majority Party, especially the family of Ms Siwela. I called her mom because she always referred to me and to all of us as my son. So I have some emotional entanglement and some deep mess in my heart. Please indulge me as I go through this. Arriving at Parliament, I was one of the people who thought that, hey, I'm a hothead. At least I've got a little bit of education, a loud mouth behind me, and I can maybe tackle Mr. Manye, you know. But Ms Siwela was one of those people who said to me, if you are going to win anything, don't raise your voice, raise the argument. Don't jump into this thing with emotions, jump into it with intelligence, because it's only through that that we are going to be able to emancipate our people and bring a better South Africa. I learned from Ms Siwela. Indeed, a teacher. Today, Speaker, I am wearing 2 watches. I'm wearing 2 watches. No, they're very cheap, but they both keep time. I want to speak about time. And I want to take you all to the good book, the Bible, the Word of God, the law book. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1 says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. It says there's a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to weep and a time to dance, a time to scatter and a time to gather, a time to embrace and a time to refrain. I hope you see as I'm doing these actions, I am saying power. Because this lady lived every single moment of her time valuably. We can never own our time because time flies, but we are the pilots of those ships. Ms Siwela used every second of her time to better the lives of other people. Indeed, she left a legacy. You can ask Jan when we start to get at loggerheads in that committee. She would come with a calmness and say, we've got work to do. She left a legacy in the fact that she was able to drive us to a point where we delivered the Small Business Amendment Act. Sonder om mekaar dood te maak. We salute her. There's one thing that I want to say some more time. Time is very slow if you want something, but time is very fast when you are late. Time is very slow when you are sad, but time is very short when you are happy. Time is endless when you are in hospital and you are in pain. But time is so long if you are bored. Time is not determined by your clock, but it is determined by your psychological condition. Now, she says to us, Ms Siwela, don't worry, my son. If someone can just open their mouth, I'm finished with them psychologically. She said that she was able to read and dissect and discern what is the intention of a person before they even speak. She knew that when Hein or anyone else was in a mood to be fighting, and she could condition and shape and lead us. The value of her contribution in this parliament shall never be forgotten. The value of her contribution in South Africa can never be written off. The value of a contribution of her lifetime that she has spent and given up the time of her children to give time to South Africans is something that we will never forget. Indeed, the African National Congress has lost an Mbogodo of note. A woman who, when she puts on her lipstick, you want to smile. A woman who has indeed literally left big shoes to fill. A woman who has indeed, when she shows you her nails, I was like, hey, is mama really 21 or something? Because the nails was glittering. Some of you must learn from Ms Siwela. I want to also say, Ms Siwela loved good food. If anyone tells you something different, Ms Siwela loved good food. Ms Siwela, may your soul rest in peace. May the God of peace give peace to your family. And may we all remember what you stood for. Amba lem kuntum 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 esizwe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members, that concludes the speakers list on the matter. And I take it that there are no objections. Order, honorable members. I take it that there are no objections to the motion being adopted. I request members to rise to observe a moment of silence in memory of Ms V S Siwela. The presiding officers associate themselves with the motion, and the condolences of the House will be conveyed to the Siwela family. Please be seated. Honorable members, the third item on the order paper is member statements. Does any member of the ANC wish to make a statement? The ANC?
Acting Speaker, in a significant move to tackle unemployment among the youth, the Gauteng provincial government recently distributed appointment letters to 32,000 youth brigade. This initiative falls under the Nasi Isipani mass recruitment program, which aims to address the unemployment and fill vacancies across various sectors within the provincial government. The Gauteng Premier, Panyaza Lesufi, the architect behind the groundbreaking program, has been instrumental in addressing the pressing issue of job scarcity among Gauteng's youth. One of the key sectors targeted by the recruitment drive is education, where job seekers will serve as teachers, assistants in public schools throughout the province. Since the inception in June 2023, the Nasi Isipani initiative has opened doors to employment through multiple avenues, including solar technicians, learning and training program, the Gauteng Traffic Orders program, and the Early Childhood Development Practitioners program, among others. Tata, ANC, Tata.
Order, honorable members. The DA.
Acting Speaker, the allegations published in the Sunday Times regarding the exchange of cash bribes by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, during her tenure as the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans are deeply concerning. It is for this reason that the DA has lodged a complaint with the Ethics Committee in order to launch a thorough investigation into these allegations. The integrity of our parliamentary institutions must be safeguarded, and those who are found guilty of corruption must be held accountable. What is most concerning is that these corruption allegations come at a time when the Speaker is facing further allegations of approving a secret 70% salary hike for the STP, Mr. Xolile George, raising his salary from the advertised and approved 2.6 million rand to 4.4 million rand. Now, Parliament is a cornerstone of South Africa's democracy. We cannot have a situation where the leader of the institution has these kind of allegations that are hanging over their head, and that is why the Ethics Committee must investigate this thoroughly.
EFF.
Thank you very much. Yesterday, the city of Tshwane announced that they have entered into a partnership with the racist organization AfriForum to do maintenance. It is not a secret that AfriForum is a racist organization. They do not deny it. They say they are proud to be racist. They are proud to display the apartheid flag. They are proud to sing the stem. And they are proud to honor statues of colonial and apartheid figures who perpetuated crimes against humanity. For the Democratic Alliance to promote such a racist organization and go as far as to entering into nonsensical agreements with them is an attempt to smuggle apartheid through the back door in Tshwane. There are areas where AfriForum is so dominant because of owning stolen land, and they proudly declare it as a no-go zone for Black people. You go to Littleton in their offices, Black people are not allowed to own properties in the area. Go to Pretoria, at the border between Gauteng and Northwest. They want to build a racist white enclave, and someone in the DA thinks that this is a good idea. We know that they are desperate for numbers and will do anything because of elections to win back their racist members who have now gone to FF+. The only practical, rational, and sustainable solution to the collapse of the municipalities is to build internal capacity to deliver basic services. Employ full-time workers responsible for grass cutting, fixing the municipal water, infrastructure, fixing leaks, fixing traffic lights, collecting waste, patching potholes, and ensuring that the city infrastructure is well maintained instead of forming an unholy alliance with the racists who long for the return of colonialism
Your
and
time is
apartheid.
now expired. Thank you. The ANC.
Thank you. The ANC welcomed the announcement of the new national minimum wage determination from 25 Rand 42 cents to 27 Rand 58 for each hour worked. The national minimum wage determination also includes the vulnerable sectors of the farm domestic workers who since 2022 have been aligned with the national minimum wage rates. The workers on expanded public work program are entitled to a minimum wage of 15 Rand 60 cents per hour from 13 Rand 97 cents. Workers who have concluded learnership agreement contemplated in the Section 17 of Skill Development Act of 1998 are entitled to allowance as determined in the latest government schedule. The schedule of learnership, sectoral determination of contract cleaning, wholesales, the retail sector employment will be published on the department's website. The national minimum wage is the floor level below which no employee should be paid. It came into implementation in 2019 at a minimum of 20 Rand per hour. It is enforced by the law. A violation are subject to fines. Iyabuya ANC, iyabuya.
The IFP.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The issue of potholes continues to affect the daily lives of South Africans. Damage to roads and in particular potholes across our nations are in a dire state. This issue poses a significant challenge to our economic vitality, safety, and the quality of our people of the country. As of October 22, we were shocked to lead a report that our country is grappling with a staggering 25 million potholes, which outnumbered our
household. This was 2 years ago. This alarming figure is reported by the South African National Finance Agency, underscore a deep-rooted crisis in our road maintenance system. Over the past years, the situation is drastically worsened, translating from 8 million people to a situation where our roads are in a state of despair, not due to our natural wear and tears, but because of a cycle of neglect and inequality maintenance. Abantu base South Africa bayasibona isimo ukuthi sinjani emhlabeni ebhoqeni wakithi. Ngale ndlela ke kufika isikhathi sokuthi lo nyaka njengoba kunyaka wokhetho bazi ukuthi inkatha yenkululeko iyona ezokwazi ukuthi
Honorable member, your time is now expired. Thank you. Thank you. The FF Plus.
Waarnemende Speaker, die Vryson Plus het gister sy 30ste bestaanjaar gevier in Suid-Afrika se demokratiese bestel. Die VF Plus is kort voor die eerste demokratiese verkiesing in 94 gestig en het tydens die onderhandeling by Codesa in die voorafgaande tydperk ook 'n baie belangrike rol gespeel onder leiding van generaal Constant Viljoen. Die party het ook 'n enorme rol gespeel tydens die finale samestelling van Suid-Afrika se grondwet in 1996 met die invoeging van artikel 235 wat handel oor selfbeskikking. Later onder leiding van leiers soos Dr. Pieter Mulder en Dr. Pieter Groenewald het die VF Plus gegroei tot die 5de grootste politieke party in die parlement en word tans verteenwoordig op al 3 vlakke van regering. Ek kan met trots sê dat ek deel is van hierdie ongelooflike party wat sterk groei toon en tans deel uitmaak van verskeie koalisieregerings op plaaslike regeringsvlak. Hiermee wil ek dan graag my gelukwensing oordra aan die leierskap van die VF Plus vir hierdie besonderse mylpaal wat bereik is en wil ek ook ons ondersteuners en lede bedank vir hul volgehoue ondersteuning gedurende die afgelope 30 jaar. Dankie, waarnemende Speaker.
Thank you. The ANC.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. The ANC has committed itself to continue strengthening measures that will improve access to higher education, to achieve free higher education for the poor and the missing middle. In this regard, it commends the government bold step of setting aside an amount of 3.8 billion to support the missing middle student, including students currently not supported by NSFAS bursary funding policy. This scheme stands to benefit the category of students who come from families who have a total income of more than 350,000, but not more than 600,000 per annum. 31,884 missing middle students are expected to be assisted by this scheme. In addition, students can apply for loans in the first, second, and third year of study to continue to be funded through the loan scheme. Students are expected to get an average of pass rate, and the loan will cover tuition, learning material, and accommodation. However, students who obtain 70% or above an average and within the prescribed time will get a 50% reduction of loans on request. The ANC commends this intervention and believes that this further step will enable the doors of learning to be open to all. The ANC, Iyabuya. I thank you.
Thank you. The DA.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. The DA welcomes the Western Cape Provincial Government intervention in Knysna. On Thursday, the people of Knysna protested and demanded the resignation of councillors from the ANC Patriotic Alliance EFF coalition of corruption, currently governing the town, and Umbali Sabola, the illegally appointed municipal manager. Service delivery in Knysna has collapsed. Rubbish is piling up with only 2 of 11 removal trucks in working order. Water in Hornley is either off or filthy like the sample I have here. Raw sewage is running into the lagoon and the council has run out
Honourable
of
Member,
money.
will you just take your seat, please? Honourable Khadeb. Switch on your microphone, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I don't know whether the speaker on the platform has requested permission from the speaker to come and display objects in this house. Because if he has not done that, it's unparliamentary.
Yes, thank you. Order. Order, honourable members. Order. Order. May I first say, Honourable George, that it is the practice to do the statement from the seat where you are sitting and not to assume the podium unless you are invited by the presiding officer to the podium. Secondly, no permission has been given. No request was received for any objects to be displayed from the podium. So I request you to desist from doing so.
I apologize, Acting Speaker. Would you like to have
Order, honorable members, order.
enough time? You can have a sip of that water.
Order.
What an ANC Patriotic Alliance EFF government smells like. The DA Western Cape government has intervened to rescue Knysna and has directed Siwela to comply with the National Environment Management Act or get fired or go to jail where he, Tengwa, Marby and Beauty Charlie belong. Knysna is very fortunate to be located in a DA-governed Western Cape that can rescue it from an utterly dysfunctional and incompetent ANC EFF Patriotic Alliance government that does not care about the residents of Knysna. Come 29 May, the people will choose stability over chaos and vote to rescue Knysna and rescue South Africa. And I would like you, sir, would you like to have a sip of the water? Thank you.
Chair, there he does it again.
Honorable George, I've just cautioned you. I'm sure you understand the rules. I'm sure you understand English. What is so difficult for you simply to abide by the rule?
I apologize unreservedly, Acting Speaker.
No, honorable member, I will ask your chief whip to please address the matter with you. It's unacceptable what you're doing. It will not advance the cause of the residents in Knysna by acting in an unparliamentary manner. The ACDP. Order.
The ACDP notes with growing concern the conduct of several political parties, including the Minister of Police, using the disappearance of 6-year-old Jocelyn Smith from Saldanha Bay in the Western Cape as a public relations opportunity. Honorable Speaker, we need to do better as political leaders. The disappearance of 4 other children in the Western Cape highlights the concerns expressed during the public hearings on the Children's Amendment Bill by child activists in the children's sector. It is undeniable that we face a crisis in our country when it comes to violence against children and their exposure to violent crimes. South Africa is one of the most dangerous places for women and children, and we have very few safety nets for children who are forced to grow up in abject poverty. During Children's Week in 2021, child activist Robin Wilson Foster, through the ACDP's Parliamentary Constituency Office, addressed communities about the impact of violence on children. The statistics then and now paint a horrifying picture and should leave every citizen with the awareness that your child is my child. The only positive that came out of Saldanha Bay and the political circus that unfolded for over a week is the upscaling of resources to find little Jocelyn and the spotlight that fell on what the children's sector has been shouting from the rooftop of for more than 3 years.
Honorable member, your time is now expired. Thank you. The ANC.
Thank you, House Acting Speaker. The ANC is deeply concerned that the last few weeks after the United Nations Court ordered Israel to stop the military operations in Gaza, this belligerent state has continued its bombardment in the area. Recently, more than 100 Palestinians were shot dead as they waited for aid delivery. We are saddened, deeply concerned, and angry as the world watch that the civilian population in Gaza has not received humanitarian aid and medical supplies. We will continue to talk. We will continue to show love and solidarity, and we will continue to stand hand in hand with the Palestinian people until they achieve their freedom. The deliberate targeting of non-combatant and is a blatant violation of international humanitarian law and human rights laws and principles. South Africa remains committed in playing a constructive role in fostering peace and stability globally. We call on all freedom-loving people and all nations to work together to prevent further suffering and untold hardship and bloodshed, and we aim to protect the civilians from harm. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The NFP, the ANC.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Acting Speaker. We welcome the launch of the 1 billion human settlement in the Northern Cape by the President Cyril Ramaphosa on the 18th January 2024. This mega housing project is the biggest in the history of the Northern Cape province. Over the next 12 to 18 months, the municipality will build 4,000 houses across the province. The project will reduce the housing backlog in the Northern Cape as more people have access to housing in urban and rural areas. The project will prioritize the most vulnerable as beneficiaries. The elderly, child-headed households, military veterans, and persons with disability will get priority in the allocation of the houses. What is significant, Chairperson, about this project is that it will also address the housing needs of so-called missing middle people who have a form of income but do not qualify for subsidies. The launch of this project further demonstrates that the ANC-led government is making a good on its commitment to fulfill the human rights of all South Africans. ANC lives, ANC leads. Thank you.
The DA.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. The DA finally received the so-called report of the cadre deployment from the ANC. Cadre deployment has infected government on every single level where the ANC is in charge. It has brought us load shedding. It has brought us dysfunctional ports and harbors. The Tintswalos on planet ANC has lost their jobs because of cadre deployment and corruption. Factories has closed down. The ANC has fallen from grace with a president that has left the WhatsApp group. They don't know what we know. Jacob Zuma was sent to prison for being in breach of court order. President Ramaphosa and Fikile is small fry. Jail time is loading for them. Minister Mantasa said we give you the report today. Today it is Handiasi, Akitsi, a case of a dog that has eaten their breakfast. To those ANC cadres who are involved in the destruction of information as a cover-up, your blatant efforts to wipe the fingerprints of President Ramaphosa from the cadre deployment report, we are coming for you. Only a DA government can rescue South Africa. Viva DA, viva!
Order, honorable members. Order. The EFF.
Thank you very much, Speaker. It is unfortunate that the leadership of various political parties here in Parliament want to sit here and continue with business as if there are no strong allegations of corruptions and bribery against the Speaker of the National Assembly. We are not shocked that it is alleged that the Speaker received a whopping 2.3 million from a defense contractor when she was the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans. These allegations are contained in an affidavit submitted to the law enforcement by the owner of Umkhonbe Marine. These allegations are too serious to simply be ignored. We should take a stand as the National Assembly, convene all party leaders and chief whips and agree to move an urgent resolution to remove her. We should not waste time on senseless prolonged processes. In fact, we must agree by a majority to call to convene before the end of the week. and move and
Order, honorable members.
to remove her.
Order.
We have reported the speaker to the ethics committee, and we know that the ANC continues to
Honorable member,
abuse,
your time is now expired. Thank you.
and we're about the urgent
Honorable member,
Oh,
your time has expired.
Julle skelm. Hou op stil.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, order. Honorable members, order, order. You only have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Don't shout, honorable member, honorable member, honorable member, don't shout at me. Order. Honorable members, you must remind yourselves and remember that you only have 1 minute and 30 seconds to make us. I'm not going to enter into dialogue with you. Order. Honorable members, order. The next statement is from the ANC.
Thank you.
Before you continue, honorable member, why do you want to be recognized, honorable member?
Thank you.
Honorable Manye, I won't be able to hear you if
Yeah.
your colleagues interrupt you.
Okay, Acting Speaker, I think I want to ask you to please exercise fairness. When the speaker was on the floor, the members from this side, members of the ruling party, drowned the speaker. To drown the speaker, and the 1 minute that we talk about is a minute that was wasted on her part.
Honorable
Because she
member,
could
please
not
take your
prepare
seat.
herself.
Please take your seat. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members, I want to remind you that the statement is only 1 minute and 30 seconds. You don't have the freedom to just carry on also when you want to, and you will be called. And also, honorable members, let us respect the member that is on the floor so that the member has a fair chance to be heard. And then also, honorable members, you are not allowed to enter into dialogue from your seat with the presiding officer. It doesn't work that way. The ANC.
Thank you, Honorable Acting Speaker. The DA's hypocrisy on cadre deployment has since backfired. Many people, amongst them the former DA leaders, are coming out to expose this hypocrisy, saying the DA cannot be against a policy it practices. These former leaders confirmed that the municipality under the DA could not conclude any appointment of senior staff without the approval of DA Federal Executive as a standard practice. In 2020, the then public protector, I'm not sure whether it's the one in front of me, found the former DA.
Order, honorable members, order.
The then former public protector found the DA Western Cape leader, MEC Anton Bradell, to be breach of the code of conduct of members when he instructed municipality of George not to fill any vacancy without the consent of the DA Federal Executive. Bradell had wanted a caucus to approve a white candidate, even though a selection panel had decided on a black candidate who had already been acting in the position and was the best candidate. It is about time that the public know the DA's own nepotism, cronyism, and the cadre deployment they are practicing. How can you claim to be moral superior on deployment policy when you practice the same? Shame on you.
Order, honorable member, please take your seat. Your time has expired. The AIC. Order, honorable members. The AIC. The last opportunity to the ANC. The ANC. Do you have a member statement?
Chair, we welcome the provision of the 24,000 houses over the past 5 years by the Eastern Cape government. In addition, 115 informal settlements have been upgraded, benefiting 57,000 houses in the past 5 years. The ANC has always maintained that the restore of human dignity of the people, ensuring that they have decent living conditions, but one of our key deliverables. A statement to this upgrading of the informal settlement is the Daukon informal settlement in Mtansane, which has been completed, transformed into a formal housing settlement by working together and trying to ensure that we leave no one behind. The Eastern Cape housing resides in informal dwelling, significant increase from 48% in 1996 to 83.6% in 2022. ANC leave, ANC leads.
Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members, that concludes member statements. Order, honorable members. Are there any ministerial responses? Are there any ministerial responses?
Yes.
The Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. From the Department of Employment and Labour, we applaud the good work done by the Gauteng government to find work opportunities for the unemployed young people. I believe that the same level of commitment and ambition across government, we can continue to make the real impact on unemployment. And Premier Sophie and the Gauteng government, they must just ignore the naysayers. The opposition will attack whatever you do, no matter how constructive. Keep your focus on these young people and the need to address the unemployment. You have made a valiant start with the NAS program. Keep up the good work. We started these public employment programs long ago. We are continuing regardless of the noise. We will continue even tomorrow and the future. And secondly, Chairperson, we will continue to review the national minimum wage through the commission representing all the network constituencies to recommend adjustments nationally. And the national minimum wage is meant to help the workers deal with the negative impact of the economy and also enhance collective bargaining and the reduction of their income differentials. So, and we are making that information available, and the Minimum Wage Commission, its research and deliberations are led by experts from all the network partners. And as this is meant to deal with the inflation, the cost of living, the need to retain the value of the national minimum wage, the wage levels and collective bargaining outcomes, the gross domestic product, the productivity, and ANC represent the working class, toiling masses and the poor. We are not apologetic about being the voice or a voice of the poor. So we will leave it there, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Are there any further ministerial responses? Are there any further ministerial responses? The Honorable Minister of International Relations and Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I join the Honorable Jacobs in expressing concern about the situation in Palestine and the urgent need for South Africa and particularly our Parliament to continue to show solidarity with the people of Palestine, but also to urge our parliamentarians to call for humanitarian aid to be allowed in to avoid a situation in which we see thousands dying on the street due to starvation that has been widely reported on by many media houses across the world. A catastrophic situation is before the eyes of the world, and it is imperative as South Africa that we speak out against what is unfolding and the great harm that is underway in the occupied territories of Palestine. It's also vital that we urge the negotiators to urgently meet and finalize negotiations to ensure that hostages are freed by Hamas and that a ceasefire gets underway to allow the beginning of a discussion for a process toward a two-state solution. Should the talks fail, should we not arrive at a ceasefire, Chairperson, the world is confronted by an unbelievable tragedy and catastrophe. And we as South Africa should do all we can to persuade the world not to permit that. We have had the report submitted to us by the International Court of Justice, the report from the government of Israel. We're currently studying it and will respond as required by the International Court of Justice. But it is important, given that South Africa led the way in placing this matter before the ICJ, that we continue with our resolve to ensure that we do finally arrive at a two-state solution. But most importantly, in the immediate, that we make every effort to ensure that lives are saved and that the people of Gaza and the West Bank have access to humanitarian aid and that they're able to survive this ordeal. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Are there any further ministerial responses? All honorable members, there is a request for a response from the Deputy Minister, Chana Majake. Please proceed, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson. I want to join Honorable Khatebe about the issue of cadre deployment that especially the DA is keeping on hammering on. It's just a lot of noise that is actually meant to have political mileage gain, regardless the fact that we have actually just in the last 2 weeks passed the bills of parliament that properly take care of situations of this nature that have to do with deployment and deployments that might actually lead to the ruling party. And I'm not mentioning the ruling party as the African National Congress, whichever ruling party, to make it impossible for any ruling party to just deploy willy-nilly in senior management positions their cadres. There are 2 bills that have been passed, the PAMA bill and the Public Service Bill. That takes care of this, and this is linked to the professionalization of public service framework that has actually been adopted by Cabinet, that is actually now being turned into public service policy directives. The DA should actually desist from continuing to actually make a lot of noise on an issue that is actually getting enough and proper attention from government. And the impression to all South Africans listening shouldn't actually be created as if government only appoints people who belong to the African National Congress. The public service regulations are there for proper recruitment, selection, and appointment of public servants. Nobody is ever requested to bring any political party membership to interviews in order for them to actually be appointed. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Are there any further ministerial responses? Honorable members, that concludes ministerial responses. We now come to motions without notice. Does any member of the ANC wish to give a motion without notice?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Acting Speaker. The African National Congress move without notice that the House congratulates our national football team, Bafana Bafana, for their commendable third-place achievement as they return home with the bronze medal at the African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire from January 13 to February 11, 2024. 2 notes that captain and goalkeeper Ronwen Williams was named Best AFCON goalkeeper, and Bafana Bafana received the Fair Play Award in the tournament. 3, acknowledges that our boys have surpassed our expectations in the tournament, restoring the nation's pride and lift the sad spirits of our football-loving nation. 4 recalls that despite a setback with a 2-0 loss in their opening Group E match against Mali, Bafana bounced back and remarkable progress to the semi-finals for the first time in 24 years. And lastly, express its gratitude to Bafana and the technical staff for lifting the flag of the country high. Thank you.
Thank you. The DA?
Thank you, Acting Speaker.
No, Acting Chair.
Sorry,
House Chair.
Acting Chair.
Thank you.
I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes that only 1 in 5 patients who require palliative care are able to access it in the Republic, while 93% of patients in Gauteng who require inpatient palliative care go without it. Acknowledges that the public healthcare sector currently does not fund any palliative care specialists, and there is no provision made in the proposed NHI scheme for palliative care services. Recalls that Dr. Jody Wishnia, Dr. Jesney Kiston, and businesswoman Anna Margriet McCarroll recently established Zazen Respite Center as Gauteng's first inpatient respite and end-of-life palliative care center in a home-like setting in Johannesburg. Recognizes that the Zazen Respite Center has a sustainable finance model where funds from insured patients are used to cross-fund and cross-subsidize uninsured patients, ensuring access for all. There is a desperate need for engagement with Palliative Care Practitioners Association of South Africa and the Association of Palliative Care Centers to ensure sustainability. Congratulates the doctors and staff at Zazen on the quality of inpatient care they are providing, and calls on the Department of Health to recognize and fund palliative care in South Africa. Further calls on the private healthcare sector to better remunerate inpatient palliative care units to facilitate the existence of their invaluable service. I so move.
Thank you. Are there any objections? None. EFF?
Thank you, Acting Chair. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters to move without notice that the House notes that Aaron Bushnell, 25-year-old serviceman of the United States Air Force, died after setting himself on fire outside the front gate of the Embassy of Israel in Washington, D.C. Further notes that Mr. Bushnell performed this ultimate act of self-sacrifice protesting against the continued genocide of Palestinian people in Gaza, and specifically protesting against the aiding and abetting of that genocide by his country, the United States of America. Acknowledges that the destruction of Palestine, the continued ethnic and racist cleansing of the area, is viewed with disgust by many ethical people across the world. Further acknowledges that this House adoption of the motion to close the Israeli embassy was evidence that many in this country also consider the actions of Israel in Palestine disgusting. Sends its condolences to the family of Aaron Bushnell, citing that his heroic actions will be remembered by all justice-loving people across the world for a very long time. I so move.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any objections? None.
The ICDP objects. Thank you, Chair.
There's an objection. The motion will be converted to a notice of motion. We proceed. The African National Congress.
Thank you, House Chair. Motion congratulating Sivenati, the special one, Nonziga on the winning the IBF World Cup. The African National Congress moves without notice that the House congratulate Sivenati, the special one, Nonzinga, on regaining IBF flyweight title in a rematch when he stopped Andrian Galito Curial in the 10th round on Friday, February 16, 2024 in Mexico. Chair notes that the special one, Nonzinga, became the first local boxer to lose a world title and reclaim it in an immediate rematch with Keriel, who previously knocked him out in the second round in Meneko in November 2024. Recalls that Nonsinga, in his opponent, had round 10, forcing the referee to step in to wave the fight off as the champion was in no condition to continue. Chair acknowledges that the South African boxer has displayed true character as he entered champion's hometown and reclaimed his title in front of 10,000 Mexican fans. And lastly, Chair, commends Sivenati Nonsinga and raising the country flags high and making the country proud of the ruling ANC. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Is there any objection? No objection. We proceed. Inkatha Freedom Party.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. On behalf of the Inkatha Freedom Party, I move that the House notes that 2 students from the University of Johannesburg were injured and 1 killed in a shooting in Braamfontein on Thursday afternoon. Further notes that this took place during a drive-by shooting on the corner of Betha and Johnson Street in Braamfontein, Johannesburg on Thursday, 29 February 2024. Acknowledges that unknown suspects shot and killed 2 men in a parked vehicle, and during the shooting, a university bus returning to residence after classes was caught in a crossfire, leading to 2 students being shot and 1 losing their life on the spot. Further acknowledges that the deceased student was an 18-year-old male and a second-year student. Extends its deepest condolences to the family of the 3 people who lost their lives during the incident. Calls on the government to conduct a thorough investigation on the circumstances surrounding this awful incident and ensure that confidence is restored in the safety in that community, and especially of university students during their commutes to and from campus, as that area services 2 big universities and other small institutions. I thank you.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Agreed. We proceed. FF Plus.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus that this House notes that the small town of Maatjiesfontein, Western Cape, has lost a big stalwart and master spirit who was also the central part of that town with the death of Johnny Tennyson. Further notes that Johnny Tennyson died on Sunday the 3rd of March 2024 in hospital after a battle with cancer at the age of 56. Recognizes that Johnny Tennyson was the well-known cultural ambassador of the Karoo, who was known for his wonderful sense of humor, his entertaining stories, and his love for the people. Acknowledges that everyone who has traveled on the N1 and who had the opportunity to stop at Maatjiesfontein would have had the positive experience with Johnny Tennyson behind the piano in the bar at the Lord Mineral Hotel, where he led many sing-along evenings for tourists and locals who came to listen and enjoy his company. We call on this House to extend its deepest condolences to his family and friends. I so move.
Thank you. Any objection? Agreed. The African National Congress.
Thank you, 18 Chair. The African National Congress moved without notice that the House 1 congratulates the South African musician Tyler Laura Sithal for winning her first Grammy Award at the 66th Annual Grammys Awards held in Los Angeles on Monday, February 5th, 2024. 2 notes that Tyler became the first winner of the newly introduced Best African Music Performance category. Urging out fellow African star Burna Boy, Davido, Asake, Olamide, and Ira Star. 3 recalls that South Africa had a notable presence at the Grammys, with Trevor Noah hosting the awards for a 4th time and nominated for their Best Comedy Album. 4 further recalls that a cappella group Just 6 was nominated in the Best Arrangement, Instrumental or a cappella category, while Musa Keys was nominated for the Best African Performance. And lastly, congratulates Tyler Sithal on her achievement and commend her for putting South Africa on the map. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any objections? Agreed to. We proceed to the ACDP.
Thank you, Acting House Chair. House Chair, I move without notice that the House congratulates African Christian Democratic Party President Reverend Dr. Kenneth Meshwe, who turned 70 years old on the 18th of January this year. Notes that Reverend Meshwe started out as a teacher before embarking on a career as a pastor and political leader. Notes further that he founded the African Christian Democratic Party in December 1993, and except for a short time, has been a member of the National Assembly since 1994, serving on many different portfolio committees, including Police and International Relations and Cooperation. Notes further that he was awarded an honorary doctorate, Doctor of Humane Letters, by the Bethel Christian College of California in 1994, and was also appointed to serve as an associate member on the Board of Regents of Bethel College. Notes further that he ministered for many years with his wife, Dr. Lydia Meshwe, known affectionately as Ma Lydia, president of the ACDP's Women of Destiny, with evangelist Reinhard Bunker throughout Africa before starting the Hope of Glory Tabernacle in Vosloorus, Gauteng, and then the ACDP, and thanks him for his faithful service to the nation and wishes him well during this, his 70th year. I so move.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Agreed.
Please note the objection of Al Jamaa.
Objecting on the 70 years.
Yes.
Okay. We note the objection against the 70 years achievement. The motion will be converted to a notice of motion. Thank you. We'll proceed. The UTM, the ATM, the DA.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes the vote of confidence from National Treasury to the Western Cape Education Department's Rapid School Build Program with its allocation of 2.5 billion rand over the 3 years after the Western Cape Education Department applied for funding through the National Budget Facility for Infrastructure. Recall that this program managed to build the Saxon Sea Junior High School in a mere 65 days, and also to build an additional 788 classrooms in the 2023 academic year. Acknowledges that the budget cuts will have a negative impact on the completion of delayed infrastructure projects, which will be detrimental to learners and educators who have to suffer the indignity and danger of receiving and imparting in quality education in classrooms built from mud or asbestos, and who have to relieve themselves in pit toilets. Recognizes that learners and teachers in the Western Cape are making the most of every opportunity of the 1.2 billion Back on Track program, which is the largest learning recovery program in the country and aims to support thousands of learners in grades 4, 7, 8, 10, and 12 with extra classes on Saturdays and during school holidays, and provide extra training to over 5,000 teachers in those grades. Calls on the Department of Education to ensure the budget cuts do not impact on the completion of much needed infrastructure projects, which will have further negative impact on the provision of quality education in the Republic. I so move.
Thank you. Are there any objections? None. We proceed to the EFF.
Acting Chairperson, I rise on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters to move without notice that the House notes that the 3rd of March marked the 43rd birthday of the President of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Silo Malema. Further notes this birthday marked a year of growth for him personally, but signifies the growth of the political consciousness. He has managed—
Honorable Mkhwebane, please pause. People behind you are making a lot of noise. You are drowning the speaker, please. Please, Advocate Mkhwebane, please proceed. Ungayiqala.
Thank you, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters to move without notice that the House notes that the 3rd of March marked the 43rd birthday of the President of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Silo Malema. Further notes his birthday marked a year of growth for him personally, but signifies the growth of political consciousness he has managed to help develop in the country for many years, and in the past 10 years in particular. Acknowledges that President Julius Malema has contributed immensely to the politics of this country, helped strengthen constitutional democracy, and has provided a platform for the development and nurturing of a diversity of political views in the country. Further acknowledges that His unflinching Pan-Africanist approach to politics has endured him to millions in this country, in the continent, and across the world. We wish President Malema a delightful year of growth and success. Mushabi, I so move.
Thank you. Thank you, honorable members. Mamukaula, 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 you were not asked to rise. Are there any objections? Agreed to. The African National Congress. The African National Congress.
Thank you, Chairperson. The African National Congress moves without notice that the House knows with deep sadness the passing of 2 military soldiers and the injury of 3 by a mortar bomb in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Thursday, February the 15th, 2024. Acknowledges that the soldiers were part of the troops sent by South Africa as part of its contribution to a force deployed by the Southern African Regional Bloc SADC to help Congo fight rebel groups in its restive eastern region. Understands that the injured were taken to the nearest hospital in Goma for medical attention and conveys its deepest condolences to the families and colleagues of the deceased and wishes the injured a speedy recovery. I so move, and I don't object to the birthday of Mfundis.
Thank you, honorable member. Are there any objections?
Wapapa.
No objections agreed to.
Wapapa.
We proceed. Good. Good. NFP.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you very much, Chairperson. On behalf of the National Freedom Party, I move without notice that this House notes the untimely passing of Shafat Ahmed Khan, a well-known and recognized community leader who served the community at large with the highest levels of ethics and values. Further note that Mr. Khan hosted daily shows on various media platforms, including Sirius FM, with over 1 million listenership, Al Ansar, Markaz Sahaba, and others. Mr. Khan dedicated his entire life serving underprivileged communities and the media fraternity. Further note that his untimely death leaves a great void in the media fraternity and in the communities that he supported. Further note that he conducted himself with the highest levels of integrity without fear or favor. Born in Clearwood in the late 50s in a family house on the premises of factory owned by his maternal grandmother. He schooled till matric in Isipingo and did a journalism course at Sandton College. He also started a BA degree through UNISA and wrote many newspaper articles before joining Ahmed Deedat at the Islamic Propagation Center International as editor of Al Buran, did broadcasting and desktop publishing courses. He later formed the Muslim Seamen's Institute and published a monthly magazine, the Al Barat for Sailors. He later did radio programs on 3 other media stations. He bemoaned the fact that Indian community grew so far apart, yet were so united as Muslim, Hindu, Christian children in the 60s and 70s. He broke the law. He married a white woman when it was prohibited. A month later, the law was abolished. He was a brave man. As the National Freedom Party, we call on this honorable House to extend its deepest condolences to his wife, Sabia, his daughter, Taskeen Khan, and his son, Muhammad Siraj Khan. May the Almighty God, Allah, grant him the highest abode in heaven. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable member. Are there any objections? Agreed to. The African National Congress. The African National Congress.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. We want to move for this House to accept and note with regrets the sadness, the tragic death of 9 ANC members from Mpumalanga province in a bus accident that happened at around 5 a.m. in Paul Petersburg under the Edumbe local municipality in Zululand on Sunday, 25th February 2024. Also notes the deceased were returning from the ANC's rally, highly successful launch of Maihlome rally in 2024 in Durban when the accident occurred. Further notes that scores of other bus occupants sustained injuries, with 4 being critical, and all were taken to a local hospital. Understands that the cause of the accident is not yet known, and the team of experts is deployed to assist with the forensic investigation. Looks forward to the swift speeding up of the process of the investigation fully to enable the families to have closure, and conveys its condolences to the ANC and all affected families and wishes those who have sustained injuries a speedy recovery. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any objections? None. Agreed. Independent Congress, COPE, the African National Congress. The African National Congress.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, African National Congress move without notice to this House that we congratulate South African Committee Trevor Noah and the team for Daily Show with Trevor Noah for the Emmy Award for Outstanding Variety Talk Series during the 75th Emmy Award on Monday, 15th of January 2024. Also, we note and understands that Noah is the first Black person to win the category, which the comedian called an honor. Acknowledges that this is Noah's second Emmy with the Daily Show winning the award for Outstanding Short Form Variety Series in 2017, and wishes him much more success in his future. Iyabuya ANC, iyabuya.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any objections? None. Agreed to. The DA.
Thank you, Acting Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this House notes that on 21 January 2024, Mr. Dricus Stilnox du Plessis became the UFC middleweight champion of the world, and that we acknowledge that Mr. du Plessis is the first ever South African to become a UFC world champion, recognizes that Mr. du Plessis is a fierce patriot that promotes South Africa on an international stage at every possible opportunity, recalls that despite this historic achievement, the President of the Republic, Mr. MC Ramaphosa, is yet to congratulate or acknowledge Mr. du Plessis' World Championship title win, congratulates Mr. du Plessis on this remarkable achievement and wishes him well in future competitions, and calls for the continued support of Mr. du Plessis as he defends his title in future and proudly inspires South Africans and international fans around the world. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any objections? We object, Chair. As there is an objection, therefore the motion will be converted to a notice of motion. Thank you. We proceed. The PAC. The PAC. Absent. Al-Jama.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chair. Al-Jama notes that the 29th of February 2024, a leap year, the Habibia Siddiqui Muslim Brigade has commenced its 70th anniversary with a dhikr that is prayers held at the Habibia Sufi Mosque in Rylands Estate, Cape Town. Further notes that the formation of the brigade was initiated by the late Maulana Muhammad Abdul Alim Siddiqui, a respected leader in the global community. Further recognizes that the brigade, also known as a Muslim pipe band, was officially launched at the Habibia Mosque in 1954. Recognizes that brigade's melodious sounds continue through the streets on the Cape Flats, including Mitchell's Plain, Delft, Bonteheuwel. Acknowledges the brigade's future events culminating to October 2024, the month in which the brigade was formed. that Parliament extends a congratulatory message to the brigade. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Are there any objections? None agreed.
Chairperson,
Yes, Honourable Swart.
I feel inclined to object, but I won't lower myself to the standard of Mr.
Are there
Hendricks,
any
so I will not
objections?
object.
Are
No
there any
objection.
objections?
No
None
objection.
agreed
Thank you.
to. We proceed. The African National Congress.
Acting Chairperson, the African National Congress moves without notice that the House notes that International Women's Day is celebrated annually on March 8 and makes a call to action for accelerating women's equality. We also believe that the International Women's Day has occurred for well over a century, with the first IWD gathering in 1911, supported by over 1 million people. Also understands that the theme for this year is Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, and Take a Stand with us using the hashtag Invest in Women. Further understands that the theme for UN Women's Day 2024 is aligned with the demands of the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women 2023, ending gender-based violence through adequate funding, and calls on all of us to unite to transform challenges into opportunities and shape a better future for all. ANC ibuyela right, so the CA left nakanye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Member. They have a right. Are there any objections? Agreed to. That concludes motions without notice. The last item on the order paper is notices of motion. Does any member of the ANC wish to give a notice of motion?
Thank you very much, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that this House in next debate must debate a building our industry to achieve an inclusive economy.
Thank you. The DA.
Thank you, Acting Chair. Chair, I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that in its next sitting, this House debates the state of the South African higher education system after 30 years of democratic governance. I so move.
Thank you. Economic Freedom Fighters.
Thank you. I hereby move on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters that in the next House sitting, we debate the compromised SASSA online system for SRD grant applications and changing of personal details, as this system is an easy access system for criminal and fraudulent activity. I so moved.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The African National Congress. The African National Congress.
Thank you, as Chair.
Just pause. Honourable Mare. Alice, you have to sit when you're done with. Thank you.
Especially
Thank you.
Overweight.
Please. The African National Congress.
I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House at its next sitting must debate advancing industrialization as driver of economic transformation. I so move.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Ingata Freedom Party. Aiko. FF Plus.
Thank you, Acting Chairperson. I hereby give notice on behalf of a Freedom Front Plus, but the House at its next session debates the urgent employment of doctors in the public health sector, plans to eradicate problems with intern appointments, and takes urgent measures to combat these problems. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you. The African National Congress.
Thank you, Acting Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that the House at its next sitting must debate promoting and monitoring employment equity to ensure that Black people, women, and persons with disabilities are represented in the public and private sectors. I so move.
Thank you. ACDP.
Thank you, Acting Chair. I will move on behalf of the ACDP that at the next sitting of the House, the House
There
debates
is a
the
member
impact.
here on the floor who had started. So are you in a contest?
Allow the member on the floor, Chair. Thank you.
Go ahead, Honorable Sukas.
I hereby move on behalf of the African Christian Democratic Party that this House at its next sitting debates the state of physical and psychological resources to deal with violence and abuse against children. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The UDM, the ATM.
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Inkathi ngicela ukuba nesilotha sixakwe i-load shedding.
Okay, go ahead. I'll give you the opportunity.
Angithokoze usihlalo. Egameni leNkatha Freedom Party sicela ukuthi umhlangano ozolandela besixoxe kabanzi isimo semgwaqo ekhona eGauteng nakuzwelonke nasesimo semgwaqo ekhona eFree State naseMpumalanga nase-North West. Ngithokoza kakhulu. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The ATM.
Yes.
The TA.
Thank you, Acting Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this House debates the social and economic impact of the collapsing water infrastructure in Gauteng. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The EFF.
Thank you, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the EFF that the House in its next sitting debate employment and business opportunities for the youth in South Africa. Millions of school leavers and graduates are currently sitting at home without hope of an opportunity. Government has a responsibility to include the youth in its programs and employment and economic opportunities. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The African National Congress.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that on its next sitting, the House debates strengthening comprehensive social security. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Good. NFP.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson. On behalf of the National Freedom Party, I move at its next sitting, this House deliberates and resolves to ensure that all procurement and tenders awarded at local level be advertised for transparency purposes with the names of companies, directors, value of contracts, and itemized billing on a monthly basis to ensure that there's greater transparency and prevent corruption. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The African National Congress.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that the House at its next sitting must debate building on the foundation of the 30 years of freedom. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Independent Congress. Ayiko. Hope. The African National Congress.
Thank you, Acting Speaker.
Acting Chair.
Acting Chair. Thank you. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that the House at its next sitting must debate addressing South Africa's inner city housing challenges and rooting out its acts of criminality in accommodation that goes with it. I so move.
Thank you. The DA. The DA. The DA, the chair is calling you.
Thank you, Acting Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that at its next sitting, this House debates the impact of load shedding on South Africa's economic growth prospects. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The PAC. Aiko. Al-Jama.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. Al-Jama gives notice that the House discussed that the fiscal policy and other policies must provide full employment in South Africa, and that such full employment must make provision for decent work in terms of the Convention on Decent Work South Africa signed with the International Labour Organization, and where President Mandela received the first annual award and Comrade Winnie Mandela received the second annual award. I so move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The African National Congress.
Thank you very much, Acting House Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that the House at its next sitting must debate investing in the capability of the people by improving access to and the quality of education and health. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, ndicela niphakame ke ngoku. Ndicela niphakame. Nilinde usihlalo uza kukhatshwa yiMace.
As happy
That concludes the notice motion and the business of the day. The House is adjourned. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.